The first time I saw Room for 314 was when it was done as a play. I was just extremely captivated by the dialogue, and it felt so rich and so honest, and I wanted to get closer. And I think that was just the spark that kind of hit me, and wanted to obviously connect with Michael and see if it was something that we could turn into a film, simply so that you could get closer and sort of, as a voyeur, really, really feel like you're in that moment with them, just as we were in the theater, but on a more intimate level. It's about relationships and that power struggle between a man and a woman, and this sexual tension between a man and a woman, and it translated extremely well to film, but it also changed. It became something new. Nick and Stacy was such a perfect example of a short film. It was humorous and intimate, and definitely had that role reversal of a man and a woman, in which you wouldn't, when Nick starts out and he's not necessarily so kind, and has a couple of those little digs at Stacy, you start immediately thinking that this is a man that you've seen before, that stereotypical role in other films. But then when the roles reverse and you realize that she doesn't remember anything from being drunk, it's a great surprise to an audience, and it really felt as though as a short film, it worked very well, and it was a great launching point to introduce to Michael's talent as well, and kind of hit the festival circuit with something very small that highlighted his ability. So I think it worked extremely well, but it also opened that door to the rest of the stories, and wanting to make sure that those came to life too. It was a very auteur, independent guerrilla filmmaking approach to making a feature. Michael has a very interesting way of working. I think it comes somewhat influenced by his own background as an actor, but he is very strong in working with other actors and pulling out their most amazing abilities. But it's definitely, it challenges them. By shooting one long continuous take on these scenes, you really have to lose yourself in that moment, and they have to rehearse to the point where those lines and their habits as a character become second nature, and they each take is obviously going to be something different, but they lose themselves in it, and it's really amazing to watch. Right, we discussed using artificial lighting, and it felt as though it took on an era of being staged. We also had times where we experimented with having another cameraman in the room, and they didn't have that same feeling, and being able to get across the vision that Michael had. So we really sort of decided to strip all of that away and keep things raw. It was incredible. I think it was obviously really nice to finally see this project that we've been working on for so long up on the screen, but you could hear a pin drop. You really felt as though you were in that room with those actors. I felt the audience really got into that and really just lost themselves in the moment, and didn't mind that there wasn't music, didn't mind that there weren't special effects and bombs blowing up and car chases. I'm extraordinarily happy with the experience. I think it's a beautiful movie, and I feel nothing but pride in the fact that I was able to work on it, and happy that Michael trusted me and included me on the team. I think as a producer, I'm submitted so many screenplays and reading writers all day, and I think that Michael's was one of the first that I read in which the roles were extremely reversed. In every single way, the stereotypical male and the stereotypical female seem to switch places, and it starts when Nick and Stacy wake up in the morning, and we find that Nick apparently had a very emotional evening in which he connected with this young lady, and she, on the other hand, had a very drunken evening and didn't remember anything. And it starts there, and it keeps going throughout the film as we witness Harry really questioning his existence and if he means anything to his family, and his wife being the strong one in the moment, unexpectedly. Giving him that support, and it keeps going until you reach that David and Callie story, in which he's really wanting to commit, and the female in this relationship is apprehensive, as we witness all of these people trying to connect and really having you know, one-on-one relationships and wanting someone to be kind. And we hope that after the film is over, it's not just those personal relationships that you end up expressing that in, but if you start by just doing that on a one-by-one basis, then hopefully it'll spread to how you treat the rest of the people in the world. So overall, I thought that was it was a very innocent and honest theme that I could definitely get behind in wanting to make a movie. This is a very unique experience in which you wrote the script entirely without changing a word from the beginning of production until the end. And that's obviously not my experience with other films, but this film in particular, I felt as though every word that you had written was chosen for a reason. The dialogue, because of the situations, is very, very important. And you know, there's some lines that we see in one story and they recur again in another story and they have a completely different meaning. And I think that was what was so challenging about it, but also so different and unique. And there was a reason why you wrote every word on that page and that I wouldn't have changed them. I remember one time when I think it was Michael Mosley, said, forgot an and you turned around and corrected him and we did it over, and it made a big difference because that hesitation of just made it seem as though he was reluctant to tell her how he felt, or he was nervous and scared, and it made all the difference.